in a team sport, winning is a product of teamwork and the understanding between teammates. And football is no exception, or at least it's supposed to be no exception. Owners spend millions of dollars to bring in the best talent in the world. But despite their efforts, some teams are still just a one-man show. These are players who carry their whole teams on their backs. Kylian Mbappe, PSG. Starting out with the guy who kicked out two legends just so he could have all the attention around himself. We all know football's a team sport. Well, tell that to Paris Saint-Germain, because this one guy has had the owners running around in circles for him. Who? Kylian Mbappe, of course. He's a generational talent, there's no doubt about that. But if your teammates are Neymar and Messi, you have to show some respect. Not Mbappe though. He forced the owners into kicking Messi and Neymar out just so he could have all the glory for himself. And well, he did pretty well at carrying the whole team, but he did it for the wrong reasons. He wanted to be known as the guy who carries PSG every season, and he got his wish. Now, he's left PSG owners looking like a bunch of fools, because despite all the money they sank into him, he's signing for Real Madrid on a free transfer. Now, he's in a team that's already full of stars, and if I learned anything from his time at PSG, it's that he doesn't do well in a team with more than one main player. Now, don't get me wrong, Mbappe's a fantastic player, a future legend for sure, but can he learn to work alongside good players and win silverware? Only time will tell. Next player, though, has already proved he plays for his team. Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah came to Liverpool when they needed him the most, and boy did he deliver. A player whose impact on Liverpool goes way beyond just scoring a few fancy goals. Sure, the man's got a left foot that would terrify anyone, and Salah's the guy who always has the best numbers out of all his teammates. Salah's got this magical ability to turn on a dime, leaving defenders grasping at the air like they're trying to catch smoke. He showed everyone his eye for goal in that first record-breaking debut season, and after that, he's racked up at least 20 goals in every single season. But it feels unfair to say that he's been carrying the whole team. Yeah, he scored the most goals. But Jurgen Klopp always emphasized how important teamwork is. To win games, you need to defend, and the Liverpool defense has mighty names no one will ever forget. With the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate in defense, Salah would need to do a lot more than just score goals to steal all the credit. Speaking of Salah's impact on Liverpool in that debut season, this next player's been something of a savior for Chelsea. Cole Palmer. He recently moved to Chelsea looking for more game time, and boy was it a good decision. Chelsea has a pretty young squad, meaning Cole Palmer was now on a much more level playing field. And he's shown that there's something special about him. He's like a jolt of electricity in a team that can sometimes get bogged down in tactics. This kid's got a wand for a left foot. He's already been selected as the team's first choice penalty taker and is always icy cool on the spot. His vision on the pitch is unreal, threading passes through gaps that shouldn't even exist. And don't even get me started on his finishing. He's got a knack for putting the ball exactly where it needs to be, whether it's a cheeky dink over the keeper or a thunderbolt into the top corner. But Palmer's still young, raw even. He's got all the talent in the world, but there's a certain inexperience that shows sometimes. He could get a bit too eager and lose the ball in crucial moments. Don't get me wrong, he's learning fast, but Chelsea isn't quite at the stage where they're entirely reliant on his brilliance just yet. This next player, though, is nothing like a trigger-happy youngster. Jamie Vardy. He's still trigger-happy, but has the experience to back it. Remember that ridiculous Leicester title win in 2016? Yeah, Vardy wasn't just a key player. He was pretty much running the show all by himself. His runs behind the defense were legendary, leaving defenders trailing in his dust like they just chased a marathon runner uphill. Vardy isn't the most technical player, but he doesn't need to be. And on top of all that, he's a pretty funny guy as well. How can you not like Jamie Vardy, especially after listening to his amazing story? Did you know Vardy didn't play pro football until very late on in his life? Yeah, the guy was like 26 when he joined Leicester, and won the title too. Some players spend their entire lives chasing the Premier League title, and Vardy did it with a team that wasn't even listed as one of the favorites. Okay, maybe he had a bit of help from Riyad Mahrez and Conte, but Leicester would never have been champions without the number of goals he scored that season. Even now, he's got a hard-working midfield feeding him the ball, and a solid defense keeping things tight at the back. All he needs to do is keep putting it into the back of the net. Speaking of punching above your weight, this next player must be cursed because his story is crazy. Harry Kane, Bayern. Harry Kane's always been a goal machine, a scorer of the purest kind. He carried Tottenham all his life, and when he finally managed to move to Bayern to win some trophies, Bayern fell into a slump. Now, Tottenham may have been a decent team, but let's be honest, they weren't exactly Bayern Munich. They were a well-drilled squad for sure, but Kane was often the lone star shining brightly in a team that could be a bit inconsistent. But things have changed for Kane. Now at Bayern, he's surrounded by world-class talent. This season may not have gone as planned, but Kane was still the top scorer, meaning he did his best for the team. The rest of the team let them down, but Kane was always at it. Next season, Bayern will hope to come back stronger, and if Kane manages to keep it up, they'll definitely win some silverware. And if they don't, well, maybe it's because of the curse they just bought from Spurs. Kane would be pretty crucial in any team, but not as crucial as one of the best in the world. Cristiano Ronaldo, Al Nassr. Cristiano Ronaldo. The name itself conjures images of thunderous strikes, gravity-defying headers, and an unwavering dedication to peak physical fitness. This is a guy who's redefined what it means to be a goal machine, a player who's collected trophies like they're nickels. Remember his time at Real Madrid? Champions League titles practically rained from the sky whenever he was on the pitch. Real Madrid was always one of the best teams in the world, and Ronaldo still somehow managed to be the best of the best. But things change. Ronaldo's move to Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia raised a lot of eyebrows. Was this the beginning of the end? A legendary player chasing a final paycheck in a less competitive league? Well, not quite. Ronaldo might not be the young buck he once was, but his hunger for goals remains insatiable, and he's still carrying Al Nassr like he used to carry Real Madrid. Nothing's changed except all the camels he sees on his way to the games. Leo Messi, Inter Miami. Speaking of playing in a lesser league and still dominating, his counterpart in the GOAT debates also chosen a pretty similar path. We all know Messi, the little magician with a left foot that could thread a needle blindfolded. It was always Messi and Ronaldo on the very top of world football. And now that they're both closing in on retirement, you would expect them to be taking it easy. But no, Messi's still just as competitive as he was a decade ago. His time at Barcelona was legendary. A period of dominance, the likes of which had never been seen before. His move to Miami made everyone think he was just going there to get the weather and enjoy his retirement. Not quite. MLS might not be the European powerhouse league Messi used to dominate, but Inter Miami's a team on the rise. They built a squad specifically to support Messi, surrounding him with young, hungry players who could capitalize on his genius. He's a bit of a coach for all of them, and you could tell that they're learning. Even Suarez, Busquets, and Jordi Alba joined him there to bring the old guard back together. Their job's to teach the youngster as much as they can before eventually hanging up their boots. But Messi doesn't need to coach. He's just carrying his whole team to glory, and the youngsters are learning along the way. Carrying isn't a term usually associated with a team sport like football, but when some players are as good as these guys, it can seem like they're carrying the entire team. Let me know if you think someone else should join this list, and make sure you don't miss out on this next video.